Hello and welcome. I'm Ian Unger.
And I'm Logan Flaming.
And together we host the Ultimate Fan Podcast, the show where the greatest fans discuss the greatest in entertainment across the universe.
Or the galaxy, in this case.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be guarding that galaxy all over this podcast tonight. That didn't work. I'm sorry.
Nope, keep moving. Keep moving.
Also tonight, we have a special guest on our team flying across the galaxy with us. Our good friend Nathan Olds. What's up, Nathan?
First time on the podcast.
First time.
Podcast debut.
Yeah. Podcast
Yeah,
debut.
it's a big night.
It is a good night. How do you tell daytime from nighttime in the galaxy?
Oh, in the galaxy.
When you're floating through space.
You don't. Time is completely something else because you don't have... I don't know. It's all funky and weird. Watch Interstellar for a more detailed explanation.
Interstellar
of how
is a completely different film than this.
Yes.
Speaking of time, though, let's go back in time. Let's talk about our first viewing experience of this. Also, I enjoyed myself tonight. What'd you guys... We just watched the movie. How'd you feel, Nathan?
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. Although I am missing characters from the other Marvel movies. I haven't seen them in a while, so...
Like Spider-Man?
Like Spider-Man, yeah.
So Nathan is one of the biggest Spider-Man fans I know. He had an awesome Peter Parker costume for last Halloween. He loved a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I do. Funny story, I had this Spider-Man action figure that I loved for probably 5 years. My cousin broke him.
Oh,
jeez.
I know.
I mean, I'm not laughing at you.
That's sad.
Yeah. Do you remember your first experience watching Guardians? Like, was it in the theater? Or?
I don't remember if it was in the theater or not, but I do remember being pleasantly surprised because it was characters that I didn't know, and so I was a little skeptical and kind of doubtful of how much I would appreciate it as a Marvel movie. But after it was over, I remember just really appreciating the characters, the new characters, and the story as its own thing.
Yeah.
Is Marvel to the point where you were at you right now, Nathan, where it basically is you watch anything they put out and you have complete faith in them? Does Marvel have that much credibility with you in your book? Or no, are you still skeptical every time something new comes out?
No, I have very high expectations for everything that comes out.
What do you mean by
high expectations? Do you mean like do you expect
like
it
you're
to be
critical good? Or you're like it's going to be good?
I'm confident that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that skepticism that you had originally for Guardians doesn't exist for other new Marvel properties?
No, but I also don't think I've seen anything since that kind of stands apart.
Yeah.
That's because you didn't see Thor 3.
But I already know the character of Thor.
Wait. Were you saying that like you haven't seen anything recently that's better than Guardians?
No, he didn't say better. He said that stands apart like Guardians.
Stands apart. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Even Doctor Strange or Ant-Man?
No, or even Black Panther?
Well, Doctor Strange might be the closest, but I already know all the other characters, so it's not like something new, completely new to me.
That's like stood apart and it's completely new to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because like
that
you
makes
knew
sense.
Doctor Strange as a character before you saw the movie?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Like, because you didn't... And I think that was actually... You know, we talked about this when we talked about Thor and even Iron Man, for crying out loud, that it was... Even though they were well-known comic book characters for the vast majority of like theater-going audiences, like these were... People don't know who Thor is. And when they first saw him, that was like a new... They're like, ooh, crap.
That was my first like introduction to Thor.
And then you take Guardians of the Galaxy, a talking raccoon. Like, just...
I remember how many people were skeptic when I showed them that trailer.
Exactly.
So many people.
And just like, you just take like... Man, just the balls that Marvel had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to just be like, Kevin Feige and James Gunn, and just like to be like, no, this will sell. Like, we can do this. And just to... I remember like believing... When I saw the trailers, I was like, finally. I was like, they're just blowing the roof off. When Guardians comes on the scene, like it opens the ceiling for Marvel to do whatever they want.
Because one of my complaints about Marvel prior to this was we never had really like committed to a cosmic Marvel movie yet. Like we had like glimpses of the Nine Realms in Thor 2, but there was nothing where like I was hungry for something cosmic at this point because I'm like, okay, Thanos is coming. Let's show the universe. Let's show people the cosmic side of the Marvel universe. And Guardians is the perfect way to do that. Yeah. And like you're saying, Ian, the confidence that Marvel had in characters like the Guardians of the Galaxy to carry their own film when they couldn't even at the time carry a comic book series, is infectious.
So they carried comic book series. Guardians was
but they didn't last for very long, and they didn't have a current comic book series when this movie was being made. They had a hard time carrying their own comic book series.
But they were stars. They were like
stars on the Marvel cosmic front, but they were no means
like
stars of the Marvel universe.
Yeah. Like,
when Dan Abnett and Albert Lanning, I think is his name, were telling their Marvel like epics during the cosmic Marvel times, where like this team was originated from. There wasn't much honestly beyond that.
Yeah. They had like a couple of volumes worth of issues, but
they had that era. They were the stars of that era of cosmic Marvel. But they didn't really carry their own continuous series, say like the Fantastic Four or the Avengers. Yeah,
it's funny thinking about it like as like the ability to stand on its own, because I agree with you, Nathan, like that it does have that factor. It feels in a sense, because it's not on Earth, it's all in space, disconnected from all these other Marvel, apart from the Infinity Stones, and we have one end credit scene in Thor 2 that shows us the Collector.
Yeah.
That a lot of people probably were unaware, a lot of viewers were unaware of, I'm sure, going into like, or even if they did stay till the end of Thor 2, forgot about it by the time they saw Guardians. But like on another foot though, like, so I see what you mean in that it doesn't rely on all those characters and that built world, but I think it does rely like that confidence that we're talking about of Marvel being like, this will work. Like fans will show up to see this.
And not just the creators, not just the characters, but the confidence in the creator and the director's vision for these characters. James Gunn, his love for these characters and his passion for this project just bleeds through the screen.
Exactly.
He cares about and loves these characters more than any of us probably ever could.
Yeah, and you can tell like
Marvel has faith in that vision.
He was right there and ready to sell it, and he knew he had a product to sell. But I mean, like, would this have worked if it was like the first, second, third, even fourth or fifth Marvel movie? If this came out before Avengers, do you think that?
You mean if they Green Lanterned it?
Yeah, so, kind of. Like, do you think it worked because, like, similar to what Logan was just asking you, where he was like, you know, are you expecting Marvel movies to be good now? At the time that this movie came out, were we like, well, it's another Marvel movie, so it's probably going to be good? Like,
well, I don't think so. I think that, well, the thing is, I think this movie, like I said, stands on its own. I think if it was completely separate from the Marvel universe, it would stand on its own.
Yeah?
Yeah, just because of how aware it is of itself. Like, they build up these, throughout the movie, they build up these, like, typical hero movie scenes, and then they kind of poke fun at themselves, and that's something we hadn't really seen before.
Yeah.
And so it's just,
at least not on this level.
Yeah.
And then Deadpool takes it and runs it all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, it does. Well, do you have anything more to say about your first experience? Or
I had an amazing first experience. Yeah. So, first of all, I saw this movie 4 times in theaters. Absolutely loved this movie. Yeah. I saw it the summer of 2014. I was working on a blueberry farm at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was working on a blueberry farm. Was so pumped for this movie, so excited. I had like read Guardians comics before this. Like I was all on board with the Guardians. I was super excited for this movie, especially coming off of Winter Soldier and just the hype of how amazing that movie was. How like good Days of Future Past was that summer. It was a really good summer for movies. I had a great like multiple theater viewing experiences. I watched it so many times just because this movie is a great experience on its own. As a film, it's so much fun. It's so rewarding. And for me, it was the gift that kept on giving, and it was one of the highlights of my year. Honestly, I love this movie.
It was so, and Logan and I have talked about this so many times, but same thing. I had read the comics and the original like team up that this movie is based on, the Groot, Gamora, Peter, all of them. And I had fallen in love with those characters, and so I thought Iron Man 3, I had like effectively learned how to disassociate my feelings with comic characters and movie characters, but this movie came back to bite me in the butt.
By that he means separating a comic book interpretation and like expecting the film to adapt that note for note.
So like, especially and that was mostly because of Mandarin. Like in Iron Man 3, I was like, all right, well, I can't expect the movies to be the same, so I should just appreciate the movies for what they are. But I like Guardians held a like closer place in my heart. Like you were saying, even from a comic book stance, they were obscure, but I had like found them and kind of thought of them as like my own and really cool.
And partially because not many people knew who they were.
Yeah, exactly. And I was one of those people. And then I saw the movie and I was like, well, these aren't the characters that I like. A couple of the characters, in particular, Drax and Gamora, I thought like were pretty different than how I remembered them in the comics, and I got like offended by it. And so my first viewing experience, I remember enjoying a lot from the movie, but ultimately walking away with a sour taste.
Ian and I saw it on my fourth viewing.
That's right.
If I were to describe Ian coming out of this movie, it was conflicted.
Yeah. It was rough for me, but
he was working through it.
I will say this. Every time I've watched it ever since then, I've only grown to like it even more. And we'll get into this more as we talk about just the whole movie, but especially having watched Guardians Volume 2, like it paints this movie in an even greater... I love Guardians 2.
Guardians 2 really builds on this movie and enriches this movie in the best way.
If you've seen Guardians 2, go back and watch this movie. It enhances your experience.
100%. And I think Infinity War is going to have the same effect.
On everything.
Well, not just everything, but on specifically this movie and just Thanos' relationship with Gamora, with Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula. And
I think that's really going to enrich that and like add new dimension to those scenes.
Well, let's get into it. Yeah?
Yeah. The opening scene with Peter Quill losing his mom to cancer is one of my...
heart-wrenching.
Maybe my top like opening scene in the MCU. And just one of my favorite opening like scenes in an MCU movie, period.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know about
not opening
favorite,
scenes in my MCU period. It's one of my favorite MCU scenes.
Yeah,
it's so good. Every time I watched it in theaters, I was a mess. It sets the dramatic, like serious tone of a film in a way that so many other Marvel movies just don't. Like compare like this to like the opening of Iron Man 3, where he's just hanging out in the convention and he's just trying to get with the girl and Killian's there being awkward. Like compare that opening of a Marvel movie to this. It's just on a whole nother level.
Or just some like story montage where it's like
Thor 2
in the beginning, or even
that's even Black Panther.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's
even Black Panther. Like,
yeah.
What do you prefer? Like the story montage or some sort of like just chill character or like dramatic backstory?
I like the backstory. I do think that this scene was done really well because every time I watch it, I'm like, I don't want to be in this room.
Yeah.
I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And
it makes me dread when my mom's going to die.
Yeah, same.
And it really, because of how good like Baby Quill's like performance is.
Baby Quill.
Baby Quill. No, seriously. And then because of how good his performance is, I instantly put myself in that moment.
Yeah.
And makes me fear for the possibility and the eventuality of when that moment will happen to me.
Yeah, and when she reaches out her hand and she's like, take my hand, and he doesn't, I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on? Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And do you know what else? So this is like an underrated part of that scene is Quill's grandpa.
Yeah.
His performance really sells that scene as well.
Yeah.
Does.
Like when he takes Baby Quill out to the like to the waiting room where no one is, and it's super dark, and it's the weirdest waiting room of all time.
Yeah, and he's like, "Stay here."
It looks like
by yourself.
Elementary school, like an elementary school, like midnight.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
That guy.
But he sells that scene along with Baby Quill.
Baby Quill's name is Wyatt Olaf.
He's in It, right? He's one of the kids in It.
The most recent It,
I believe so.
He's 14 now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's in It. I haven't seen It, but I know he's in It.
It the movie.
It the movie. It the clown.
Yeah, he nailed. I think you're totally right.
It's so
like
good.
all of us, it just like gives us that feeling of taking us back to a kid and that fear like that we could lose our parents and what that feels like. Mm-hmm. And I love juxtaposed to the rest of the movie. It's like I think it lets us know that even if this movie's being funny, like it has serious.
These are real people with real stuff. That real stuff has happened to them. Real losses has formed these characters into the characters we see before us.
Like hurtful, and we see it with all of them. We see it with Drax. We see it with Gamora. We see it not so much with Groot, but then he's the one who actually like loses himself for the team. But like Rocket, especially. Yeah. I think in contrast,
Drax's family.
Yeah. I mentioned that. I think it's a great contrast to something like Thor: The Dark World, where it's trying to set up this dramatic tone, but have comedic moments that just don't land. Like don't land as well in the. So think about like the blending of dramatic with comedy and like humor, which carries over into Volume 2 really well. I like it in Volume 2 also.
One of my favorite things about Guardians film is how much heart they have alongside the humor. And the humor doesn't necessarily come at the cost of the heart and the emotional.
Yeah. That's because that's what I think. Like sometimes like you can be having a really dramatic or heartfelt moment, and then you in a movie that's overall a comedy, you can then throw in something that's just like a slapstick piece of humor or whatever, and then it feels like you just kind of
cheapened the moment.
Yeah, you cheapened it, and I think that there are a couple times in other Marvel movies where they make that mistake.
Yeah, totally.
And they step on something that they shouldn't have. But I think this movie,
Thor 2.
Yeah.
When Loki dies.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like a minute later, we're having this jokey gag where Jane is on the phone with her guy that she went on a date with earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like completely, even though like Loki doesn't actually die in that moment, when you watch that, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But the movie itself doesn't treat that moment with the gravitas that it deserves.
Yeah. It's like literally
and that
seconds
the characters
away.
are giving.
Yeah.
No, the performance that the actors are giving.
Yeah. Like Thor doesn't get like a chance to really grieve in that moment. Yeah.
No, he's like, what's his face? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, let's keep moving on. So jump forward, we see Peter Quill get whisked away. You know what I like? It takes
the whisking.
Well, I was going to say that we don't have like. This is one of the few Marvel movies that doesn't set up the villain right at the beginning of the movie.
Do you know what else doesn't do that? Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And one of the other cool things about Winter Soldier.
No, they set up the villain in the movie before.
Yeah, true. Hashtag Hydra.
Hashtag Bucky.
Yeah, true. But one of the cool things about Winter Soldier is how that opening is completely different than any other Marvel movie. It's like this like jokey, just like fun opening before like it kicks in.
Yeah.
And you're totally okay with it.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun. Yeah, just doing laps on your left. Like the on your left, like, and then that whole like sequence is great. But it's completely different than any other Marvel movie and it works.
Yeah.
Gosh, that movie's so
I really
good.
like that. Keep going, Russos.
They are.
Do you have anything else to say about that opening, Nathan?
No, I don't think so.
So, what do you guys think about that temple? That
come and get your love.
Yeah. I love when the title.
The title card is so good.
Is so good.
Yeah, I love how like we don't go straight into Quill's like jokiness. We like they introduce us to this guy in a mask. We don't know what's going on. It's rainy. It's dark out. We don't know what's going on. But then it kicks in. He brings out the Walkman. You're like, okay, what? And then it kicks into the song, and then the title card appears. You're like, oh, this is what this movie's like, and this is fun. And I've
just
never
like
seen this
those
before.
rat things like
it's
so
much
cool.
fun. The Come and Get Your Love sequence is awesome.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I remember, like we said, we hated that first scene. Like, we didn't want to be in that room.
Yeah.
When it got to the title card, I was like, yes, this is what I want from Marvel. I was like, so much better feeling.
Sweet relief.
Yes.
Whew. I thought I got
Let me
into
run
a
away from my
serious
real life
movie.
problems and
Jeez.
issues.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, the soundtrack is so dope.
This is when we you get introduced with to the soundtrack in the first scene, but this is when it really starts kicking into high gear.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think I've heard interviews from James Gunn where he was really intentional about the music he picked for both.
He
awesome
picks
mixes.
it when he writes the script.
Yeah,
and has the certain songs looping while he writes the scenes that the songs are supposed to be looped to.
That's pretty awesome.
He also plays the songs like during the scenes, like Quill's like "Come and Get Your Love" sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's listening to that song in real time, so he's dancing to it. It's not something that's just like added in post. Say like Suicide Squad, which I reacted to this movie and added like Guardians-esque songs in post. And you could tell it's just like tacked on and pasted on in response to the success of Guardians. These songs of this movie were there from the genesis in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's such a big difference compared to something that like Suicide Squad where that was added retroactively in post. Baby Driver is another movie that does the soundtrack.
Does it really
well.
Yeah, Edgar Wright did something similar where he had specific songs chosen as he was writing the script, and like he actually built the script around certain songs. Like
Same
even the
as James
timing,
Gunn did.
He was like, "Well, the song is this long, so the scene needs to be this long." Like
that's so sick.
Yeah, I think we were watching some of the special features and like. Chris Pratt even like he was like I got so tired of Pina Colada, like,
which I was like I don't know why
that's so long.
I don't know why that's the one you got sick of because like it's not in the movie for very long.
No, but maybe on set if that scene took a lot of takes, you're just over and over and over again. What do you guys think about Henchman? He's a
Korath.
mercenary.
How do you say his mind? Digimon? No, about the actor's name. Like, Digimon Housen or whatever.
I really like that actor.
I'm always second. Like
he hasn't been in like he hasn't had a lot of leading.
He's
roles.
in Gladiator.
Yeah, but that's what I was meaning. Not a lot of leading roles though. He's awesome.
Gladiator is the first time I saw him.
I think Aragon. Nobody.
I love that movie.
Why did we have to mention that?
Yeah. Anybody know who he plays in Aragon?
I never watched it. Never read the books.
I think it's Digimon or Gmon. I'm not. You internet. You can just destroy me if you think I'm wrong. So it's all right. But I mean, Korath though, like
he's all right. He's a good like
sub villain.
He's a good like someone we can punch.
I like
he's
him.
The sub boss to the main boss.
I like when Drax takes him out. That's pretty satisfying.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah,
but he's like disappearing. He's like not in half the movie.
You know, I like him less than the like what are they called? Like the accursed. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, like the accursed, like
in Dark World.
Henchman, yeah.
I like that guy more.
You like that guy more? I think I would do too.
Yeah,
I think he's cooler design.
He gets more screen time.
Yeah, he does cooler stuff. He kills Thor's mama.
He looks more like a demon.
Demon.
I just want all my sub villains. I want all my lieutenants to be demons.
Everyone like ranks Marvel villains. We should like rank Marvel henchmen.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Like that guy in Iron Man 3, the bald headed. He was like a military guy.
Who gets like the Iron Patriot suit? Yeah.
Crap.
I
don't like
him.
that guy.
But do you know who we do love? Do you know who we do love? Batroc the Leaper.
The Leaper? Batroc?
On the Le Mans Star in Winter Soldier. The French guy who does all the kickboxing.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Batroc the Leaper.
You saying the Leaper, I was like, well, the what?
Yeah. He's not called that in the movie.
But he's not.
He's a sub henchman. He counts.
But he's not a henchman. He's his own villain.
Crossbones. Yeah. Crossbones is dope.
You think Crossbones is dope?
Oh, yeah, dude.
I thought you told me you didn't like him.
Oh, no. I'm all about Crossbones.
When we were watching
in the comics, in the movie.
When we were watching the movie, you were like, meh.
No, I love him.
More Bucky.
Well, yeah. But still, Crossbones is awesome.
Until they put his brain in a blender. I can't talk anymore.
It's going to hurt a lot. Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's talk about Ronan. Let's talk about Ronan.
Yeah. Do you just want to jump
like his
into
opening?
that?
Yeah. Let's just jump into Ronan.
Does he get introduced right after that scene?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So
I like Ronan more than a lot of other people do.
I'll get all my expectations out of the way in the beginning.
Air your laundry.
I said Gamora and Drax bothered me when I first saw the movie because I pictured them as much more serious and much just more kind of like, how do I say this? Not bloodthirsty, but just a lot more menacing characters, like quiet and deadly. And then I thought they were portrayed.
Silent but deadly.
Yeah, I tried not to say that.
You couldn't beat around that bush.
No, now I want that joke in the next movie. But like that could be a perfect Drax joke. Also, I'll save it for Guardians too. Anyways, also Ronan. I felt like Ronan was pretty different than I saw him in the comics, and so that hurt my viewing experience with him. I thought he was a lot darker than he is in most of the comics. A little like he's kind of like bathing in blood at the beginning or something. And,
Zandarian blood.
Yeah.
Which I think is dope. And I love the whole alien influence, like H.R. Geiger designed to his ship, like him coming out of the
totally
blood.
Right. That is what that is.
I love all that stuff. Like, it reminds me of Prometheus.
It definitely is that. You're right. Also, Thanos' ship has a little bit of that vibe.
Yeah. Totally.
But I was going to say,
Big black corridors.
A big thing that I was upset about was his overall appearance. I wanted Ronan
he looks cool.
but I wanted him to be like bulk, like I wanted him to be like almost as big as Thanos, because in the comics
he is way bigger in the comics.
Yeah, but I also understand you can't have rescue heroes walking around on set or it looks funny.
True.
Anybody?
That's why The Rock hasn't been in. Okay. That's why The Rock hasn't been in a Marvel movie yet.
Yeah.
Yo, he would kill a Rescue Heroes movie.
Yeah,
he would be so good. How have I never thought of this before?
No, my brother
and we're gonna do a Rescue Heroes podcast next.
Yeah, my brother and I have been vying for a live action Rescue Heroes for a long time. Actually, we saw the trailer for Planes.
I'll take that over Rampage.
We thought it was going to be a Rescue Heroes movie.
Oh, I'd be so stoked.
Anyways, what do you guys think of Ronan? In later
viewings,
this viewing also, I like him. Like better than Malekith.
He's not bad. He's a serviceable, like, kind of run of the mill villain. I think he looks cool. I like the soldiers. I like his tech. I've never had much of a problem with Ronan. He's clearly not the focus here. The focus is clearly on our 5 Guardians.
On the Guardians.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he's something for them to rally against.
Yeah.
And
he provides like a greater connection to Thanos and the rest of the universe.
Yeah. But there's a reason he dies at the end. We don't need him.
Well, he's coming back though. As of today, he's in Captain Marvel.
What?
He's in Captain Marvel.
Oh, well, you told me that. But he's not coming back in the Infinity Gauntlet.
And the future, Marty. No, he's coming back.
What do you think of Ronan?
Him and Korath.
I don't have any connection to him, and especially like the first time I saw this movie, I didn't have any connection to him. So, what I was my thought process was like, I want this guy to be out of the way so we can like get to Thanos. Like, I want to,
and that's not Thanos. What you want your reaction to
a villain to be like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
You don't want to be feeling like this is the main villain. Can you just get out of here so I can get to the real bad guy?
Yeah.
Please. Get out of here, Bowser. I want
Peach.
Is Thanos Peach?
You said Bowser. I think what comes after Bowser is Peach.
But that's what I mean. Is like Ronan is the main villain.
Oh,
in this.
Okay.
But like,
wow, you confused me.
Let's talk about Thanos. Since we just like talking about him, I will bathe the stowaways in your blood.
A best Thanos scene we've had.
It's so good. I've always loved that Thanos scene, and this makes me excited for Infinity War. Like I feel the presence of Thanos in that scene. Like his presence compared to Ronan's presence is undeniably like more menacing and more fearful.
Yeah.
Even though like a lot of people complain about the scene, like he never gets out of his chair. Ronan like
he doesn't need to,
like stands up to him and like doesn't do anything, and Thanos doesn't do anything. I don't care. I feel like the fear of Thanos in that scene.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and I think
Ronan backs away.
That
so
adds
good.
to the build-up too. Like we've been wanting to see Thanos get out of his chair, and we're finally gonna get to see that. Like
in a month.
Yeah. And I think somebody who believes that they're like ruling the galaxy, and like somebody who truly has everything under their feet doesn't need to get out of their chair. Like
exactly.
Yeah, and
people are getting him the stuff right now, and it's not till Avengers where he's like, "Fine, I have to get up and get out of my chair."
Yeah, that's when he's like, "I'll do it But I do really like that scene. Like you were saying, Logan, I'm totally with you. I feel the menace. I'm excited for some
Phantom menace.
Let's chat about Thanos' family. Do you think they have like pictures on their walls? Do you think they have like Thanos
family hearth?
Thanos family rules? Kill each other.
Yeah, I want to know like what the Thanos family living room is.
The best one wins. Like best one gets to eat dinner tonight. All the rest of you starve.
I want to know what's like the rug on Thanos' hearth. Kind of it's Beta Ray Bill.
Oh,
it's Beta Ray Bill.
That's rough. And Beta Ray Bill's head is mounted on his wall.
Yeah, it's like the caribou.
Yeah,
above the fire.
Jeez,
caribou.
Yeah, I really
his chairs are made out of Groot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, not Groot.
Our listeners all just turned off the podcast. They just all stopped
You're
listening.
Disgusting.
They all said "We are Groot" at once and clicked the delete button.
Sorry, everyone.
Let's get
sorry, not
yeah.
sorry. But what do you think about Nebula, Gamora, Thanos? We don't have to get too much into Infinity War speculation.
I think Infinity War is really gonna like bring a whole new light to their relationship.
Yeah,
I like what kind of like the sister like rivalry dynamic in this movie.
Yeah,
and I like kind of how they're building it. But to me, Guardians 2 does it way more effectively.
Yeah, I think it builds on what's already there.
Yeah,
I like the little,
but which I connect to it way more.
Yeah.
In Guardians 2.
They're separated for a lot more of this movie.
Yeah,
I like the scene at the beginning where you see them kind of vying for Ronan, like picking who's there.
You don't speak for me.
And then there's that one line. I love it though, and I think it's gonna get really played on in Infinity War, where Ronan and Nebula are there in that Thanos scene, and he says, "Gamora, my favorite daughter," in parentheses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Nebula, you see a shot of Nebula just kind of like look to the side, like.
Yeah.
Really, Dad?
Yeah. Like, but I like that line and how it kind of like plays on that, and you can see like he's just blatant. Imagine if your dad said that to you in front of like, you and all your siblings.
I've already heard it.
Ooh,
just kidding.
Okay, I was like, yikes!
I don't have to imagine
you're
this.
Joking. Yes. But like, it's just so real. Like, it's just so raw and like unavoidable. Like the competition between them and how much he's instilled it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I also love all the random like shots of Nebula like running around the Dark Astro, just yelling at randoms.
Get out of my way!
I just love her.
Throw up the blast shields.
We have been boarded.
Get to the ships.
So stressed out.
Yeah. You just need to chill, lady.
Do you see the part where her like limbs are all like broken and
I love that scene.
She's letting that stress get to her. She's all bent out of shape.
You don't even need a chiropractor. Her body is a chiropractor. That's how you know you stressed.
Did you get my bent out of shape joke?
I didn't even hear it.
Oh, okay. She's bent out of shape.
Oh.
She's so stressed.
Literally.
It's true. Let's get back on like track of like the plot of the movie. So Xandar.
I think we can move even past Xandar.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get to the kiln.
Let's talk about the kiln. There's lots of great like humorous moments.
Wait, do you have anything you want to talk about on Xandar before the? So team, is that when the team comes together?
That's when they like first start like fighting with each other.
I think like the like prison lineup where they're like the Nova is like talking about. This is their rap sheet or whatever. I think that's kind of like the team has come together moment.
Yeah.
The first shot we get, that Avengers shot, is when they go to the Watchtower in the kiln.
Yeah. But the best part of this the whole time on the kiln, the Chris Pratt shirtless scene. Getting sprayed with orange juice.
The Chris Pratt naked scene.
Is he naked?
I think he's in the butt.
If this was Ragnarok, we would have seen his butt.
Yeah,
and everybody that's fans of that TV show,
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec
is like, wait,
that
what?
TV
what?
show.
Wait, what?
Where's my fat Pratt?
Not my fat Pratt.
Hashtag not my fat Pratt.
Also, have you ever seen in Parks and Rec? He was filming this stuff and so he got in shape and whatever, and he went back to do more Parks and Rec and. one of the characters asks him about it, they're like, "Hey, how'd you lose so much weight?" He's like, "I just stopped drinking beer." Like that's the only explanation for his weight loss.
That's awesome. It's kind of true though.
Also, funny coincidence. A couple episodes, I think 2 or 3 episodes of Parks and Rec, he goes to London and meets this guy who he ends up working with, Chris Pratt's character in Parks and Rec, and that guy plays Corman Saul.
Peter Serafinowicz, who's also, fun fact, the voice of Darth Maul in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, so it's cool. I didn't realize that until I rewatched this because I'd seen this movie, then watched Parks and Rec, and then just in this rewatch, I realized that they're there. So it's cool. They're like best buds in the TV show.
I like Saul and Rocket's like kind of like relationship in this movie. They're like, hold on, Saul. Like they're talking about the third act, kind of like their cool dynamic towards the end. It's like hinted at. They have cool chemistry. Yeah, the Kilm's super fun. There's lots of cool character moments in there. But the highlight of the Kilm sequence is the escape. The escape is so much fun.
It's so good.
Yeah, there's so many. Like one of my top MCU moments is in that sequence where Rocket gets the gun and he's on top of Groot and he's like, "Oh yeah," and then just unleashes hell upon all the Norco members. Like that's like for me when I came to this movie, that's all I wanted, and I got that scene, and it's so good.
I
so
love
many
that
cool like
moment.
working together moments.
I love the fingers up the guy's nostrils moment.
Nathan Fillion's nostrils.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool cameo.
Not his actual nostrils, but he voices that alien. I love the like I need your leg.
Yeah, the whole leg. The whole leg gag is great.
And I love the shot where they're talking about the plan, and in the background, Groot is like, I love that whole like it's just a really well shot and like a funny play, and like we can still focus
also something
on what
you've
they're
never seen in a
about,
movie. We've heard like bajillion of like movie plan exposition scenes, and like you can just have a bunch of characters talk about it, or you can do the thing where you're intercutting like them with the voiceover of them talking about the plan while they do the plan, like Ocean's 11 style. Yeah. But this was a totally different like fun way of doing it.
Yeah, and then we actually got. That's what I like when you have kind of two different. When you have multiple plans, quote unquote, in the same movie.
I love it when a plan comes together.
How do you like do that, right? Multiple scenes where it's like, okay, we have to have a plan for getting out of here, like getting into here, which is out of the kiln into Ronan's ship, and 2 different ways of kind of handling it rather than just like the same type of deal over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite things about the kiln, Nathan?
I was actually thinking like the same thing, like where they're planning, and you guys pretty much said it. It's just different. Like I was talking about how it's kind of how it stands apart from other superhero movies. Mm-hmm. Like in other superhero movies, they get the plan together and then they execute it. Yeah. But like in this one, like Rocket's even like, or we could just take the battery first and then do everything else on the fly or whatever he says.
Yeah, it's super fun.
And I like how quickly the team comes together. And like Drax isn't even a part of it yet.
He just kind of just tags along.
Yeah. I like that. I think this is a good opportunity to kind of chat about team dynamics. This is the first Marvel movie we've had apart like that, like, and I'm not even counting Avengers, where it's a team movie that, and we've seen these types of films before. Great Escape is a great example, or other films where within the film is a self-contained story where we have individual characters that come together to form a team to accomplish something at the climax. Magnificent Seven, all classic takes on. And they do it.
Another like MCU example that comes later on is the Revengers and Thor Ragnarok.
The Revengers.
The Revengers.
I forgot about that. Yeah, but so like a team coming together in the course of the movie, because Avengers, yes, they do come together, but it's kind of built on those individual movies before it. So what do you guys like? Do you think that's successfully done, and like, do you feel it?
It's one of the highlights in the movie is the character dynamics between each one. I love this movie does a great job of letting us buy into each character, understand each character, and then really just let us enjoy them getting to know each other and hanging out and getting pissed off at each other and learning to love one another and become friends.
Yeah. And that was actually like one of my favorite things about this movie is that it didn't feel like I was just getting to know like one person,
like
which
Peter
is
or something,
like Peter or like Ant-Man or like Captain America. But I was getting to know all 5 characters, and I was getting to like see them like not love each other, but also have to work as a team.
Actually hate each other.
Yeah, yeah, and like all these characters are definitely their own people, but they all come together, and I think it's really well done.
Yeah. And I think it pays off. Like the timing is good by the end when they all kind of put on the matching suits and go to fight. Like I buy that
yawning.
moment. Yeah.
Like Rocket's adjusting his junk. Like,
but
it's all
like,
great.
I buy that moment when they're like sitting in that room and they're like talking about the plan and they're kind of like they're arguing in that moment. It's not like Avengers or something where they're just like, okay, now we're gonna do it because we need to. Like,
and Phil's dead.
Yeah, and Phil. It's actually just them kind of being like they're just kind of arguing, and then they're like, but you know what? We're like in this,
and they choose to be willing to sacrifice each their lives for one another and the galaxy.
Yeah. And
it all feels earned to me.
Yeah,
like each character is like challenged and like has to make sacrifices, but the way they come together is so organic and so entertaining. It's a joy to watch.
Speaking of how they make those sacrifices, I jumped ahead a little bit, but let's talk about Nowhere a little bit because that's kind of where we
severed
see
head
those
of a
sacrifices.
Celestial. So as a Marvel comic fan, having Celestials in the Marvel universe.
Big
seeing
deal.
Celestials,
seeing Nowhere,
seeing Nowhere.
Also,
big deal.
That's spelled with a K.
Big deal.
Know.
Yeah, super cool.
WHGRE.
And I love the design of the inside of Nowhere. Like it's so detailed, especially like when they're doing the chase sequence with like the mining pods. There's so much detail crammed in the background of the entire setting, and it's so much fun and so cool to see.
It was like what you compared it to is like Coruscant, like the Coruscant chasing.
Yeah, well, just in the level of detail.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like just feeling like the vibrancy and like how full that space is.
Compare Nowhere to Asgard and Thor 1.
Yeah. No comparison.
Can I be honest though? What Nowhere makes me feel, as far as it being the head of a Celestial, it makes me want to see Galactus.
Yes,
I
so
want to
much.
see.
Gosh.
Phase 4.
I'm expectant. I was actually chatting with one of our friends the other day about possible ways for the Fantastic Four to enter. And we don't have to get too much into this, but
here's what they do: Reed Richards buys the Avengers building, turns it into the Baxter building.
That'd be great.
That'd be sweet.
You know what I think is yes, that like happens, but I think they've been gone in space this whole time. Like I don't think...
And they just come back. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think we need an origin story because then you could even have a retroactive thing like they do with Captain Marvel. Because like, where's she been? On
ice?
Or dead. And she gets brought back with Infinity Gauntlet stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how crazy we're going to go with Infinity Gauntlet.
I have no idea.
I have no idea
man.
How crazy we're getting.
All right, let's keep
How
moving.
much Marvel commits to Infinity Gauntlet craziness... That's anyone's guess.
Yeah, or even like you're saying, like Galactus. I wanted to see I'm sorry, you guys, but Rise of the Silver Surfer can just go be in a toilet. As far as Galactus is concerned, actually, that Norrin Rad, that Silver Surfer is pretty sweet.
He's pretty cool.
But gosh, Galactus is not a cloud. He's not a cloud, you guys.
Let's get not hung up on the sins of the past. Fox.
But I think. Speaking of like Guardians and what this movie has done, though, of kind of like how it tore that roof off and just like sunk its hands into
this
like
cosmic Marvel
book and like all this stuff. I think that is a world that like a huge alien in like a purple and blue suit could just show up.
100%.
And eat stuff.
By
stuff I mean planets.
Mm-hmm. The Collector is super fun. I love all the Easter eggy stuff in the background. It's
so much.
A blast.
Every Marvel fanboy in the theater is just like,
what's going on? Yeah, it was so sick. Like seeing the Chitauri in there, like seeing the Dark Elves, Cosmo. I'm so glad Cosmo made in
yes.
this movie. I'm a big Cosmo fan. I was bummed that he wasn't going to be a part of the team in Guardians 1, even in Guardians 2. But I'm just glad he's here.
Yeah.
And we get a little taste of the antagonistic relationship that Rocket has with Cosmo.
with the little growl. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's so good.
I still want them to come back to nowhere in Guardians 3 and then just be like surprised that it's like totally like spick and span and like spot clean and Cosmo's like running the place. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, but I don't know how much of that'll happen, but it's nice. It's nice thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking. Mm-hmm. I'm probably gonna get disappointed. But
Hashtag this movie for you.
Anything else about no? I think I like the stuff with Drax and like you're saying, like the tension, that conversation. After Groot pulls him out and saves him, and then he's like, it's there, and there's Rocket, and Rocket's mad, and like. Quill sacrificing himself for Gamora. There's a lot of really good like loss and motivation for like coming together and kind of getting over ourselves and getting over our pasts.
Which I love that Rocket doesn't fully in this movie, and that's how much of an arc like that. How much of that is still Rocket's arc in Guardians 2? It's just him like kind of being coming to terms with his own loss and not like putting that like that anger and hate towards other people.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is the fooled around and fell in love scene with where Star-Lord and Gamora are talking about Footloose and they start dancing. The whole background of that scene is just utterly gorgeous.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And I really love Star-Lord and Gamora together, and like their chemistry in that scene is awesome.
You know what I'm realizing as like the more we get into these films, Logan, is I think you're in like look out for romance more in movies than I do.
Oh yeah,
and I'm
actually a big romance guy when it comes to movies.
Yeah,
like, movies that do it well.
Yeah,
like Star-Lord and Gamora.
Yeah,
like Peter and Gwen in the Amazing Spider-Man films.
So good.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm into it more than probably your average
Stephen
guy.
Peggy,
but I'm not. I don't think I look out for it as much as you do. Mm-hmm. A lot of times like
I'll own that.
Like that Peter and Gamora scene, I'm like, can we get more Drax and Groot like punching each other?
No. I love that scene.
No, I like that scene too. Yeah,
but I do love the Rocket like drunk scene. Where you just see good, like where and he's just stripped and so raw.
Yeah,
and he's just expressing like all everything that's inside of him.
And you feel the awkwardness of that room.
Oh yeah,
of like your friend, where you're trying to like calm your friend down, like don't make a scene.
We've
man.
been in those moments where like your friend is having an emotional moment, and like it's super awkward, but he's having that emotional moment.
Yeah,
and there's not much you can do.
He's just
we've all been there.
He's just saying whatever he
tell
thinks.
him to put the gun down.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah, that's literally what the scene
is. Should we get into the climax? I think it's
let's
time.
talk about the third act.
Favorite things?
Third act is my favorite part of the movie. So much fun stuff.
Now that we're kind of talking about it, I don't know that it... What about the third act?
We Are Groot.
That, okay.
Dance off.
Yeah.
The Nova Corps ships attacking the Dark Aster.
I'll say for the dance off, the more I watch it, when I watched it in the theaters, I actually really enjoyed that moment.
I was hysterical.
Like now that I know it's going to happen, the surprise factor, like the comedy isn't as great for me anymore. But I do love the team coming together and I love the moment when they kind of all look at each other and he's like, "I'm distracting you," and then
you turd blossom.
Okay, the part that still makes me laugh though is that slow motion shot of them destroying the hammer and Ronan's like side glance in slow motion, just like what, like, and then them grabbing the stone and all that epicness.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's right. B word.
Yeah, you said it yourself.
B word.
Yeah. We're a family-friendly podcast.
What's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing about the climax, Nathan?
About the climax?
Or favorite things?
Well, I love seeing Groot unleashed.
Oh,
he is a boss.
Yes.
He is a boss, and I love that they just kind of cut him loose. Like, when he just impales all those, I don't know what they're called.
Sicarian soldiers.
Sicarian soldiers, and then he kind of just looks at them and... they're as surprised as the audience is. So.
Yeah.
And then he gives that great grin.
Yeah.
Going back to kind of what you were saying, Ian, this is honestly one of my critiques to this movie. And the thing is with comedies, if it's a great comedy, it's super funny. Like, it's great, really great the first time you see it. But the thing is with comedy is diminishing returns.
Yeah, because you know the jokes.
Yeah, and that's where we'll get into this in the ranking. I think Guardians 2 has a little bit of an advantage over this movie, where it has probably even more emotional and dramatic moments to where it provides a better repeat viewing experience.
Because you're not just looking for those jokes.
Well, the jokes, the thing about jokes is the more you hear them, the less funny they become.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of this movie is.
I feel completely the opposite. I feel like
really?
there's more raw and real moments in this one than there are in the second one. So that's
we might have to have Nathan back on Guardians 2.
I know.
I'm kind of with Logan. I think that Guardians 2 has only because my wife and I argue about it on a regular basis.
There's a lot of people who don't like that movie. We'll talk about that movie later. Let's stay focused on the third
Let's
act.
finish here. Ronan and his what about him on the ship? I love that they try to launch their big weapon. Their plan essentially fails. Yeah. They get there, they shoot the big weapon, and nothing happens.
And I love that when Gamora realizes that their plan's going to crap, she just deuces. Pieces out.
I like her fight with Nebula.
Yeah, that's a great fight.
Satisfying.
And I love when Drax shoots Nebula too, and he's just like, "No one talks to my friends that way." Right after he calls Gamora a green whore, it's so funny.
That's so
good.
So that joke still lands. I thought.
Yeah.
And I like the
This is still a great movie, and I still laugh at a lot of the comedic moments. I'm just stating, kind of just my thoughts.
Yeah. We don't go back and watch comedies all the time. And
it's because most comedies suck. Marvel movies are funnier and better than most comedies in the last 10 years.
That may be true.
That's pretty aggressive, but I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because we watch more Marvel movies.
Well, I think there's less comedies made today.
Yeah.
Because Marvel movies feed everyone.
Less classic comedies, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What about... I like, all the stuff on Nova. I like all the Reaver stuff. What about Yondu?
On Xandar. You said Nova.
Oh, no, but I mean the Nova stuff.
Oh, yeah.
With all the ships
coming together is one of my favorite moments of the film. The score in there is beautiful. It's just a really awesome, cool moment that we haven't seen a moment like that in a film like this.
Also, does anybody get the feeling
really visually?
You know what I just realized? That whole climax is just like spaceship football. They don't want him to touch down.
Oh, you're right.
They literally just don't want him to get a touchdown. They're just trying to keep him back.
And then they kill all the players, and then they shoot the last standing player at the goal line. I mean, at the the net.
Yep.
I don't play soccer
or football. Apparently,
hey!
All of our sports fans just
English
unsubscribed.
I thought we were talking about English football.
No, but what do you think? That little Yondu scene we got. I always thought it was long. I thought it was longer, but
that scene, because of Guardians 2. And just the epicness of him taking out the whole ship's worth of Ravagers diminishes this Sicarian soldier scene for me. Because when I saw that, I was like, this is so cool. This is one of the most awesome moments of the movie. But then watching it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But Guardians 2 is way cooler.
Yes.
Yeah, they definitely upped that ante in Guardians
you know what?
2.
It's almost like the Quicksilver effects in the X-Men movies. You know what I mean? Just those types of how you kind of have we get our Yondu scene where he's just
yeah. Yondu unleashed. Well, we're not going to
get... Here comes my arrow.
Oh, that's a great reference. But we're not going to get that Yondu scene after.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Moment of sadness for Yondu. Also, Yondu is extremely he's way more antagonistic in this movie.
Oh yeah,
he really is. I actually wanted him to die the first time I saw this.
Same.
movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
I was like, when he was killing all those guys, I was like, why don't you just shoot him before he kills you? I was like,
Yeah, and then Guardians 2 is way much a way more realized, sympathetic, heartfelt character, and I love. He's one of my favorite things about the sequel.
Same.
Yeah. Speaking of just minor qualms, I think this movie, like, if there are
it's pretty
negatives,
freaking airtight.
Yeah, but there are a few nitpicky things, like Yondu kind of showing up at nowhere. How did he know they were there?
Yeah,
like,
he just kind of just shows up when the Ronin shows up. I'm like, that makes no sense. Why? It's like one step too far.
Yeah. And do we have anything else to say about the climax?
Well, just while we're on the topic of quibbles. We have
Quibbles?
Tribbles.
I was getting there.
I know. I don't. One of the things I'm just like, okay, that's stupid and dumb. Is when, like, it's cool though when Quill takes over the mining pod, but then he attacks the Sicarian like ship and like uses his like little like repulsor hands to steer the other ship from within the other ship. I'm like, there's no way that works like that.
It's a little bit of a trope.
It's a little far fetched for me.
Yeah.
But those are literally my only two complaints about the film. It's pretty fantastically well made.
Yeah, there's a
great blend of CGI and practical effects. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah. Another little kind of movie trope that I kind of like, there's a part in that same nowhere scene where Gamora gets into a pod and they're kind of like flying overhead. We had no shot of like Nebula recognizing Gamora get into a pod and fly over. We just see her looking at the pods, but then she's like, "That's Gamora, get her." And maybe she just has like some.
I've seen that driving before.
yeah.
No one drives a mining pod like her.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I agree with that one.
And that
too.
happens a lot, like in a movie where there's like something flying overhead, and it's like it's them, or like two cars drive away, and it's like there they go. How do you know? Like,
they don't have the Force.
Yeah.
If this was Star Wars, it wouldn't be an issue.
What do you got for the last for the finale? I was with you,
Let's
Nathan, on the finale.
Go ahead.
I like Groot and Drax and Peter just taking out Sicarians and kind of
so much fun. Great action moment. Star-Lord, finally.
Yeah. And I liked them getting to separate a little bit, like have Gamora kind of do her thing,
have Rocket on
the ships, doing like what he's good at.
Yeah,
it all kind of worked.
I know the first time I watched it, I definitely felt kind of the ominous like persona of what's his name?
Ronan?
Yeah, Ronan.
Yeah.
Pretty memorable villain, eh?
Pretty memorable. I mean, his name just disappeared. No, but like you said, their plan did fail, and I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, well, now what? I mean, they're the heroes, so I'm sure they'll win, but like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
So there was definitely,
and I think that's a credit to James Gunn for being able to give us an unexpected ending. Yeah. That the climax wasn't on the ship.
Totally.
It was on the like planet surface.
The third act is just fantastically edited.
Yeah. You were going to say something else? Groot's
Can we talk
death?
about We Are Groot?
Yeah.
We Are Groot is probably my favorite moment in the film. Just a beautiful, heart-wrenching, heartfelt moment. That's awesome. And I love it so much. And for me, what sells it is Rocket's reaction. Mm-hmm. Like Rocket's single tear.
I was just going to say that.
While Groot is holding them all, like Rocket crying later with like the twig.
Yeah.
And Drax coming up to pet him.
Yeah, definitely.
And even Groot like wiping away his tear.
That's such a beautiful moment.
So good, yeah.
We Are Groot is amazing.
And I think you're right, because we chatted about this before on the podcast about like the power and like effect of death scenes and loss is getting to see other characters react to them. Mm-hmm. Because then we experience those reactions even more than the death, like, and we can react with them. I think my favorite,
what we talked about before, Chewie in Force Awakens.
Yeah, exactly.
I get chills when thinking about that moment. Oh, so good.
Rocket is Chewie. But I totally am with you, Nathan. I love that moment where Drax gets to goes over and like pets Rocket, and like that's my favorite moment.
That's James Gunn's favorite moment in the film.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love. Like I like how like that little like startledness, like when you pet like a dog or an animal or something like for the first time and they're not like expecting it, and they like kind of like you see his ears like perk up, but then he just kind of like relaxes.
Tail goes up
and I see that relationship in Guardians too. Drax and Rocket just kind of being like, and it's such a cool contrast to them being in the bar and like screaming at each other earlier.
Totally. Also, it's cool that Drax has that moment with Rocket, because if there's anyone who understands like grief and loss, it's Drax
having
lost his whole family.
Well,
to Ronan.
I mean, Peter understands.
Well, Peter too, but like Drax understands Rocket in that moment, and
also,
they get to come together in a really powerful, beautiful way.
Yeah, Peter's too busy trying to get some or something. I don't know.
So sweet.
I'll say this final comment for me. Just as like maybe it's just my sensibilities. I was glad that I thought Gamora's costuming was very tastefully handled.
Yes, it could have been way sluttier.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Have you seen Gamora in the comics, Nathan? Some of her classic outfits.
I think I've mostly just seen her armor.
If they can be called outfits.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any awful ones.
Not to get too like graphic, but Gamora's classic comic outfit is basically underwear that goes over her shoulders.
Oh, okay, so pretty common amongst Marvel heroines.
Actually, in the DC more.
Yeah. DC is way more sluttier when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Huh. But anyway, I just thought like for a live action film, they were very tasteful about that.
All the costuming was adapted extremely well for this film. Also, the fact that
Peter looks awesome.
I was going to say
the fact that we don't bat an eye once at the special effects for Groot and Rocket is fantastic.
Yeah,
like that's
seriously
incredible special effects work.
Budget where budget needed it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both of those characters just look fantastic, and they feel like real characters, and you're not like distracted by CGI wonkiness.
Okay, fellas. MCU ranking time.
Okay, here's where it gets interesting. So I have this movie at number 4. So with Winter Soldier at number 1, Civil War at number 2, The Avengers at number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy at 4.
Oh my gosh!
And Guardians of the Galaxy 2 right at number 5, right below it. Here, so I'm gonna leave Guardians 1 at 4 right now.
Yeah,
but there is potential for me switching Guardians 2 and Guardians 1. When we get to Guardians 2, that's going to be the big question.
Logan, I think you're going to be really excited to hear this.
Yeah.
So because for a long time and because of my
I know it's coming. Woo!
because of my previous experiences with this film, especially my first experience, Guardians has been pretty much in the middle of my list. Immediately above it is Iron Man. Then Thor Ragnarok, then Black Panther, then Captain America, the First Avenger, and then like my top 4. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is actually number 4 for me. But after this, I think Guardians of the Galaxy, after this viewing today and just feeling like my pure enjoyment of this film and all the good things about it that I remembered from my first experience, and like now that I've gotten past like,
and think about how airtight this film is from a script perspective.
It's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid, and like you're saying, Nathan, it can stand by itself. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need the Marvel universe to help it,
even though it has more ties to the rest of the Marvel universe than most Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's true. It's gonna move up to. It's still not in my top 5.
Okay.
I love the first Avengers so much.
Yes.
But it's going to go above Iron Man, Ragnarok, and Black Panther for me right now.
I support all of that.
So that puts...
I back it.
That puts it at number 6 for me.
Nice. So 4 for Ian, 6 for me.
Nathan, do you have... we didn't ask you to totally come prepared, but do you have any sort of MCU ranking in your head? In your noggin?
There's too many for me to keep it officially ranked in my noggin, but I just kind of going off a whim, I'd say I'd put it around 7-ish.
Okay.
That's kind of middle. There's like 17 films. That's pretty middle of the road.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
What do you think's around it? Like above or below?
What's above it?
Spider-Man.
What's above it? Spider-Man? Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know if Spider-Man's above it.
Spider-Man Homecoming is way below.
Maybe Spider-Man 3.
No, we're talking. Okay.
I'm playing.
I got baited there, folks. Triggered.
I don't know. I think maybe all the Captain America movies might be above it.
Amen.
Those are all solid.
They are for me. Yeah.
They are. Maybe the Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Oh, Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron
Nathan is a big Age of Ultron defender, which is why he's going to be on our next podcast for Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I am a fan of Age of Ultron.
Sweet.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time thinking of.
Next time we'll have Nathan with his list, and he'll come and lay it down for us.
And you can tell us why Ultron's at the top.
It's not at the top.
Okay. I want to meet the person who will fight for that one.
Ultron is the best.
He's the greatest villain of all time.
I'm sorry if we're mocking you right now.
Can you ever really
Ultimate
defeat
fan,
him?
if you're the one who's
the internet.
Yeah, if you are
have Jarvis, that's why.
and
if you have Jarvis ad blocking, then you're good.
Vision.
We will
Jarvis
say,
Vision.
If you think Ultron is the best, listeners, if you think Age of Ultron is the best movie, tell us why, and we're going to talk about it. Actually, this is a great way to wrap up. That is our next episode. You can be looking forward to that. We'll be discussing Age of Ultron. It's time. Our second Avengers movie is already here. After that will be Ant-Man, and then we'll be done with Phase 2.
Yeah.
We're wrapping this. We're moving right along, guys. Yeah, so if you have any comments about Guardians of the Galaxy, what do you think about it? First team movie apart from Avengers in the MCU. And do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you agree with us? Where is it in your MCU ranking? Comment. You can private message us on our Facebook page. You can follow us on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, all at Ultimate Fan Podcast. Or you can send us an email, and we'll interact with you via email. We like to, for a little bit, longer discussion. That's ultimatefanpodcast@gmail.com. Or we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel. You got iTunes, Apple Play, or Podiant. What, are we on Stitcher yet?
I don't think so.
No.
YouTube, though.
Getting there soon.
Go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, all at Ultimate Fan Podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. That was a fun episode.
Yeah. And
fun movie. Good times.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.